by being devoted to Torah mitzvahs. We bring more light into Malchus. If we bring more light to Malchus, we are bringing more life and more consciousness of Elokus into time and space, into the world, the created worlds of Bria, Yetzira, and more than all, Asiya, and more than all, Asiya Agashmis. So good evening. Tonight is the Haftes, the 29th of Teives. Today was the birthday of Rebbe Tzimchana and Em HaMalchus. The light of her neshama should shine in our neshamas to have the grace and the dedication and the wisdom and the love and the royalty that she exuded. The shiur is for the well-being of all and the success of all the soldiers that are fighting the Milchemes Hashem, and they should be successful and complete, have a complete victory with no one being harmed, not beguf and not benefesh. All the captives should come home immediately and get the help they need, and all those who are injured and not well should heal. B'geula amitis v'ashleima.
Amen.
We are still in our Maimar Roni Vesimchi, Parshas Miketz. We are on page 74, about a third from the top of the page, from the right side, the line that starts Umisham Yismach Gilui Pchinas Melucha. The last word, Vehine kesheyesh isarusa deletata. Vehine kesheyesh, the line that starts kesheyesh isarusa deletata. It's under Umisham Yitzmach and over Leor HaRuchni. I would like to go over the review questions that Avigail prepared. We are starting the Perek Shishi, but let's go over the review of Perek Chamishi. Number one, what is referred to as Bas Tzion, and what is the meaning of Tzion?
Tzion is Knesset Yisrael B'Galot, the Jewish people while in exile.
That's not Tzion, that's Bas Tzion.
I'm saying that's the first question, Bat Tzion. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So let's connect them together. What's Tzion and what's Bas Tzion?
Tzion is a marker.
Tzion is a representation. Yes, it's true. Tziyun means a pointer, a marker.
Entire mitzvahs.
Yes. But Tzion here, the beginning of Perek Chamishi, after we explain Roni Vesimchi, we explain what Rina is, we explain what Simcha is. Rina is the song of wanting to exit the confinements of the body and the physical reality and merge with the Elokus. And that's the avoida of Rina, of Roni. And Simcha is bringing Elokus down, bringing Ohr and Sof down, and the Simcha that goes along with Gilui Ohr and Sof, Gilui Elokus. Now we have to know what is Bas Tzion, because the Pasuk says, Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. So we understand what Rina is. Rina is Beramsa, is the avoida of Galus, avoida of darkness, when we don't feel close and intimate with godliness, and we yearn to feel closer. And that's the avoida of Rina. And then Simcha is the avoida of Yom, the avoida of Gilui, of Ohr and Sof. But the Pasuk says, Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. So Knesset Yisrael is Tzion. What we learn in Knesset Yisrael, the collective Jewish soul, is called Tzion. And why it's called Tzion? As you said correctly, Michla, that the mitzvot are also called Tzionim, also called Tzion. Why? Because the mitzvahs are a pointer, which I think will come up in the coming review questions. The mitzvahs, the physical mitzvahs, are a pointer to the Or Eloki and the divine light that shines through them, that is brought down through the mitzvahs. And so too, A Yid is also called Tzion. Why? Because we are a pointer to Elokus. We are Mamshich Elokus, and we are a pointer to Elokus. So we are also called Tzion, but this is when there is Isarusa Deletata. When there is an initiation from below to come closer to Hashem and to use Torah and mitzvahs to bring Elokus down. Then we are called Tzion. When are we called Bas Tzion? Tzion is a condition of a Yid in Galus. When I don't have Gilui Elokus, I'm not motivated. I'm doing Torah and mitzvahs, but it's not alive. It's not, I don't have this yearning to come to Hashem. If I do Torah and mitzvahs, it's like by rote. There's no inspiration. It's a Galus condition. I feel disconnected. It's a derivative of Tzion. It's a Bas Tzion. Not only the Tzion itself is a nekeva, or could be Tzion, could be Zachar or nekeva. But Bas Tzion for sure is a nekeva, is a mekabel from Tzion. So it is a condition of Galus when there is no initiation from below that can provoke a response from above. That's Bas Tzion. It's a condition, yes, you're right, it's a condition of Yiddishkeit in Galus, when it's not shining, when there's no inspiration. Next, what is the significance of man being created in the image of God in relation to Tzion? Yes.
Man is formed in the image of Hashem, which means that the human body is, our practice of mitzvahs are called the 248 Evarim of the Malka, that Hashem Kiviyachol is compared to the Jew keeping Torah and mitzvahs.
Very good, very good. So we are created in the image of Hashem, the way He came down to show up as a man, so to speak, into 10 spheros. And the way the 10 spheros break down, it comes out to 248 mitzvahs. How it breaks down, you want the math now, it's not so important. But it's 9 times 9 times 3. Plus, I'd say the thing last time, the 5
like the
Magdilim. But the bottom line is that Hashem Lemaila, as Yecheskel saw the image of Allah Kised Mut Kemarei Adam, like an image of man on a throne. That's Atzilus. It's the way Hashem brought Himself down in 10 spheros. And that is breaking down. It's the way to mamshich. Each and every organ of Hashem, so to speak, of the king, is doing one of the 248 mitzvahs that are called Evarim of Malka, the Aleph. The king's organs, the king's limbs, the limbs of Hashem, of the king. And just as by a person, each one of the 248 organs in the body, each one of them is mamshich and megale, reveals another koyach from the nefesh. So too, each one of the 248 mitzvahs reveals another aspect of Or and Sof. Another koyach, another Or, another aspect of the Or and Sof. Another Or from Or and Sof. Why does the Alter Rebbe stress the connection between Tzion and the mamashus of the image of Hashem Metzalmeinu Mamash? Because we are a reflection of our conduct here is a reflection of what happens to the Spheros Lemaila. So when we are maniach tefillin lemata, HaKadosh Baruch Hu also is maniach tefillin. And that means what? That extra light comes from Or and Sof into the Chabad, filling the union of Chokhmah, of Chabad. So in the spheros of Atzilus, in Chokhmah and in Bina, in Atzilus, there's now extra light coming from Or and Sof into more charge, comes into the spheros of Chokhmah and Bina of Atzilus. And so too in Nefesh Adam, when a person is maniach tefillin, so the more Or Eloki comes in to his Chokhmah and Bina in his own mind, his own nefesh.
How come we don't feel it? How come we don't experience it? Especially when our own physical bodies are performing the mitzvahs as if really, as the Evarim of the Malka, that the limbs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why don't we have the access to this experience at all?
For this, you have to learn to join the Samach Vav Shiur. Tomorrow we're discussing that exactly. It's amazing how much correlation between the Torah Ohr and the Samach Vav by Hashgacha Pratis. What we're learning about now, Or Makif and Or Pnimi, and how to mamshich, different ways how Or Makif is nimshach b'pnimius. How is it possible altogether? That's what we are learning now, and what is required. But what is required, first of all, in the context of our Maimar, what is required is the avoda uvrina. We are in a bas Tzion where there is no avoda uvrina. There is no initiation from below enough. We do Torah and mitzvahs, but there is not enough meditation, there is not enough reflection, there is not enough avoda of refinement. And therefore we are not kelim, even though Torah and mitzvahs, it will be clarified more towards the end of the Maimar, that even though Torah and mitzvahs are mamshich, or and sof, but you have to be a keli to feel it begilui. Now there are even different levels of feeling it begilui. For instance, Shabbos, you feel something of the Or Makif. You feel the Or Makif, but you don't feel it b'pnimius. Which means you sense something, the Or Makif comes b'pnimius, which means you sense and you feel that Shabbos is another day. In the avodas Hashem on Shabbos is a different avodah, it's a different level of Abbas Hashem, but it's still not as bepnimius as when you learn Torah. When you learn Torah, you can feel that light even more bepnimius. But basically, it's conditioned with the avodah of refinement of oneself. The more refined you are, in terms of your midos, in terms of your serving of Hashem, and serving of Hashem is Kabbalah's all, not just what's based on what feels good to me or what feels right to me, but rather serving Hashem and learning Torah with Kabbalah's all, and so on. That makes a person more and more of a keli to feel it. And then there are also es ratzon, there are different times that are more auspicious for this to be revealed, like Shabbos, like Yom Tov, special times that it is revealed. There's more involvement from Or and Sof that anyhow is revealed more, and mitzad the almightiness, kol yacholness of Or and Sof, he can also bring makif to pnimius. The level of internalization of this Or and the ability to sense it and to internalize it depends on our avodah in our process of self-refinement. And it's not that the mitzvahs don't affect a person and they even change a person, but many times they do it super consciously, which means a person doesn't realize the direct connection between the mitzvah that he did and how next day he was motivated to serve Hashem in a better way or in an additional way. We don't see that kesher sometimes because it is or makif. But there's much more to say about it. But right now, let's concentrate in here for how are the mitzvahs compared to limbs of the body. So I think we related to it that just as each organ of the body is drawing another koach from the nefesh, like when you open the eyes, it draws the koach ha're'iyah out of the nefesh, so too the mitzvahs draw koach or and sof to be revealed, to be brought down and be revealed in kelim. That's what doing the mitzvah does. And besides that, as we mentioned also, that sometimes, you by pulling one organ, by pulling your hand, I can pull your whole self. So by one mitzvah, I pull to me the entire Or and Sof. Atzmus Or and Sof. 5. In relation to this, how is Elokim, the Tzimtzum, connected to Tzion? Because it says, Yimloch Hashem leolam, Elokaich Tzion ledor vador. Elokaich Tzion. It becomes your God. What does it mean? That Havaya, Or and Sof, is now Elokaich. Elokim is the Inyan, as you said, is the Inyan of Tzimtzum. And now, Or and Sof is now becoming your koach. We are internalizing Ohr and Sof, and it becomes now our Elokim, our koach, our life force. And this is through Torah and mitzvahs. Because there's a big difference between the aspect of godliness, of Elokus, that is invested in the worlds, and the aspect of godliness that is brought down through Torah and mitzvahs.
Okay.
The aspect of godliness is naturally allocated to anything that exists, each one according to its level, each world and each creature in each world. That is a chitzonius of Hashem, of Elokus, that is just shayach to animating and creating and animating the world. But when you do a mitzvah, it brings from Atzmus Ohr and Sof itself, for Pnimius Ohr and Sof, way above the worlds. It's Tosefes Ohr, it's additional Ohr. That's what also the Rebbe Rashab teaches us regarding the Geula. We are kind of deviating today, wow, big time. But okay, it's okay. Regarding the purpose of the creation of the world. So we say that, to begin with, when Ohr and Sof was memaleh, the entire halal, right? There was no room and no possibility for existence of limited worlds. And therefore, Hashem had to conceal this Ohr and Sof, right? In order for worlds, for space to be created, and for worlds that feel themselves separate from their source to become a reality. What happens when we do Torah and mitzvahs, and what's supposed to be eventually the result of all this in the Geula Amitis Vashlema that should happen tonight, B'ezrat Hashem? Two things. One is that we are step by step through Torah and mitzvahs and refining ourselves, we are broadening and refining the kelim of our existence. So we will be able eventually to contain that infinite light that was shining before the Tzimtzum, without disappearing, without vanishing in the infinity. We're being able to maintain our existence, yet our existence should not block Elokus, rather reveal Elokus. This is what all the years of Torah and mitzvahs and Mesiras Nefesh and refinement and so on and so forth enables. But that is just the part A of the beautiful movie of the Geula Amitis Vashleima. The main part is there will be Tosefes Ohr Chadash, that was never shining, even before the Tzimtzum. A Pnimius Ohr and Sof that never shine, never was Begilui. Because Pnimius Ohr and Sof is essence of Ohr and Sof. Essence is the way something is in relation to itself. So by default, it's not shayach to Gilui. And that too will be revealed. Okay, that's in Samach Vav. But now coming back to our place, if we'll be able to land.
So number 6,
Yes.
How does this connection bring the revelation of Malchus, the kingship of Hashem? So how can we go from a place of Tzimtzum to revealing the kingship, the Malchus of Hashem? And
So
this has,
yeah. Let's hear.
This has to do, I believe, and maybe I have it wrong, this has to do with when we make a bracha over a mitzvah, and when we say Baruch, it draws down Ohr and Sof to Havaya, and this power of the bracha becomes Elokeinu, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Olam, Hashem as the king of the world.
Which means when we act like a Tzion, when we do Torah and mitzvahs, we bring additional light, you're right, from Ohr and Sof to Malchus of Atzilus. Yimloch Hashem leolam Elokaich Tzion ledor vador. What happens when we bring extra light to Malchus, when we make Hashem the king? Malchus is now more animated, and therefore there is more Gilui of Elokus in what Malchus create. What does Malchus create?
Time and space.
Time and space, our reality. So ימלוך Hashem leolam, Elokaich Tzion ledor vador, ימלוך Hashem, we bring Malchus, we bring more light into Malchus, from oneself into Malchus. Wow, how? By Malchus is action, by doing Torah mitzvahs with Kabbalah soul, by being devoted to Torah mitzvahs. We bring more light into Malchus. If we bring more light to Malchus, we are bringing more life and more consciousness of Elokus into time and space, into the world, the created worlds of Bria, Yetzira, and more than all, Asiya, and more than all, Asiya Agashmis, that we live in. And through the revelation of more Malchus, the kingship of Hashem, more revelation of Elokus in the nefesh of a Yid, there will be more Gilui of Malchus of Hashem in the consciousness of the whole world. And this is by being a Tzion, by doing Torah mitzvahs and bringing Elokus down.
By acting as a Tzion, like you said, through doing Torah and mitzvahs, we draw down more Or Ein Sof into the world of Atzilus. And when more Or Ein Sof is drawn into Malchus, then Hashem's kingship over the world shines. And is revealed in a greater way.
We see a change in the consciousness of the world, that the consciousness of the world will be aware of the divine presence and will change its choices and its priorities. This is what will happen. It began already. There's more awareness of charity than ever in the world. There are many good things that are happening in the world, and many spiritual progressions that are making the human race closer to knowing God, even though there are still strong forces
last time.
Greed and power are playing. But there is a more revelation of godliness in the world, for sure. And it will increase rapidly. Bezrat Hashem. 7.
What is drawn down through the physical action of the physical mitzvahs? We just said that, Or Ein Sof.
Okay, 8.
Why is the physicality of the mitzvah called Tzion, a pointer or a sign?
Why?
Tzion. Because every single mitzvah, even though the 248 mitzvahs are called the limbs of the king, they're actually pointing to their spiritual root, which is Or Ein Sof itself.
Right. The mitzvah itself is a physical action that has no resemblance to anything spiritual, but it's a pointer, yes. And it's mamshich, that's koach eloki, yes. What is it pointing to, and why do we say blessing?
Over mitzvahs, yes. We said that already.
What blessing is like bringing down and making it like lavrich es hagefen, is in order to bring down godliness into time and space, as we said. Okay. Weiter.
Okay. Can I just ask you one thing?
Yes.
When we say that the mitzvahs, the physical mitzvahs are pointing like it's Tzion to Or Ein Sof, is that Atzmus Or Ein Sof or just Or Ein Sof?
Atzmus Or Ein Sof.
Atzmus. Okay.
What
why does the blessing over the mitzvah include Havaya and Elokeinu, our God?
Because we are bringing Havaya down to be internalized in our world, in time and space. So we have to go to Elohim, to a tzimtzum.
It's an empowerment to us that we're drawing down that spiritual power that goes along with the mitzvah.
When can it become our own power? When it is mitzumtzam to our own kelim. Now we are the 6th chapter of Roni Vesimchi. It was a long chazara a little bit, but it's good. The Rebbe will bring more the difference between Tzion and Bas Tzion. Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. What's the difference between Tzion and Bas Tzion? We basically said, and the Rebbe is elaborating more. והנה, כשיש איסרוסא דלתתא, אזי נקרס ישראל בבחינת ציון, וסימן ציון או ציון וסימן לאור הרוחני הנשפע ונמשך בה. When there is an isarusa deletata, which means when there is an initiation from below, a conscious initiation from below of Knesset Israel, of a Jewish soul, to align itself with the will of God and learn Torah and do mitzvahs, then Knesset Israel is in a condition of Tzion. It's like a mark, it's like a pointer, Vesiman, it's a sign, La'or HaRuchni HaNishpa v'Nimshach ba, to the spiritual light that is bestowed and drawn into it, into the collective Jewish soul. So why our soul is called Tzion? Because it's a pointer to the Elokus that is present, to the divinity and the godliness that is present in each and every soul, when it is in Bechlal, and especially when it's engaged in Torah and mitzvahs. So then we are channels to bring godliness down, and we become like, as Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said about himself, Ana simana be'alma. I'm only a siman, I'm only a sign, I'm only a pointer, I'm only a channel for Elokus. I'm not anything of myself. Aval, this is how Knesset Israel is called Tzion. Aval begalus, in an exile condition, when a person is not well connected with his inner self and with Elokus, nikres bas Tzion. Then she is called the daughter of Tzion. She rak bchinas mekabel mibchinas Tzion. It's only receiving, it's only a derivative of Tzion. So Bechlal, female represents a makabel, and male represents a mashpia. But how much more so when it's a bas? It's a daughter. It's not even a woman, it's a daughter. It means that the avodah of Eretz Yisrael, of Am Yisrael, of Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish soul is not proper. And they don't have that. What does it mean? That the Jewish soul is not in a condition of his orerus. Please mute yourself. Of his orerus milamata, to want to raise itself and to ascend and to connect with the Elokus. It's not like that. And when it's not like this, Knesset Israel are called Bas Tzion. They, bekoach atzmam, they out of their own self and their own power, do not initiate. And they are too weak spiritually to initiate their own inspiration, to come close to Hashem. Then we are only Bat Tzion. וחנודה בזוהר מעניין איש מזריע תחילה יולדס נקבה, דהיינו כשאין איסרוסא דלתתא, שאזי היא בחינס בס. It says in the Zohar that when ish mazriya tchila, when the man seeds first, then his wife would give birth to a baby girl, to a female. What does it mean, beruchnius? Beruchnius, it means when there is no initiation from below. From below there is a disconnection, and therefore there has to be an awakening from above, from Hashem's end. He has to begin and he has to inspire us. Then what we give birth to, what comes out of that revelation from above, that is not preceded by any initiation from below, is Bechinas Bas, which means it represents a spiritual and emotional response that is not deep and it's not lasting. It's superficial. If there's no work from below, if it's only an awakening from above, the result of it on Nefesh Adam will not be lasting and will not be deep. It's called Yoledes Nekeva. She gives birth to a female. Female means not strong and not lasting enough because there is no work from below. Ma she'en ken, which is not the case, uletzion yamar. When we are in a condition of Tzion, which means when we do initiate from below, when we do work from below, in Torah mitzvahs, with consciously wishing to come closer to Hashem and refining ourselves, working on our midos, and so on and so forth. Ye'amer ish ve'ish yulad ba. Then she's acting like an ish. There are a few interpretations to this, but one of them, she's then acting like an ish. She's initiating. She's the initiator, the mashpia, so to speak. She initiates. She's acting like a man. She initiates. The ish yulad ba. And if she initiates, ish yulad ba, a male will be born, which means the love to Hashem that will be born as result of work that we do, initiation, and that we do from below is lasting. It's like a male, strong and lasting and deep. Isha mazra schila yoledet zachar. If the woman, which means if the Knesset Yisrael initiates first, and then Hashem responds, then she gives birth to a zachar, to a lasting relationship with Hashem, b'chinas chasadim, which also calls for a revelation from above that will have a lasting effect. Dahainu, what does it mean, Isha mazra schila? That the Isha, the Mekabel, the Knesset Yisrael, which means the Jewish soul, the Yid, has to begin first. He has to initiate, not just to wait for Hashem to throw some kind of inspiration, but we need to initiate. What does it mean? What we learn? Dahainu, behakdim b'chinas rina, vesimcha kanal. When we first begin with rina, bo lefanav, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, bo lefanav birnana, v'rina. So when can we get to simcha? Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, when we come before Him with rina, and then we come to simcha, which means liyos bo lefanav birnana, to come to seek Hashem's pnimius, lefanav. We are seeking Hashem's pnimius. We don't want just a superficial, external relationship with Hashem. We are seeking intimacy with Him. We are seeking to be close, to merge with Him. That's the avodah of Rina, the avodah of night. The Ramsa, as the Zohar says. B'vchinas renana beramsa. Like the renana in Ramsa. Ramsa means night, when it's dark, when you don't feel close. Mimata lemaila, from below up. There's initiation to want to ascend, to want to come closer to Hashem. So what do we find? That the name Tzion is when the avodah of the Jewish people is kedebai, when the avodah is the way it should be. That first there is bo lefanav birnana, they uplift themselves, they raise themselves mimata lemaila to come closer to Hashem. Then the light of Hashem shines in their nefesh to kiyum Torah and mitzvahs. Then comes the simcha. והדבר זה, and for this reason and for this purpose, תקנו פסוקי דזמרה. Chachamim established the פסוקי דזמרה of davening before Shema, להקדים שבחו של מקום, to begin with praising Hashem, כדי שיספעל הלב, as the creator and the provider of creation, so the heart will be responding with some kind of a reaction. וכן, and also we say the brachas before Shema, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, ועניין קדושת המלאכים, and the holiness of the malachim, איך כי והאופנים ברעש גדול, how the srafim and the אופנים call with a great voice, ברוך כבוד השם עם כל מון סאון, הכל הוא בבחינס ממטה למעלה. All this, until Shema, is tefillah, is work milamata lamaila, b'vchinas rina, in a manner of raising oneself to appreciate the divine more and more and more, and releasing oneself from the darkness of being in a physical reality. Latzes minarte kaguf, that all the beginning of davening is for the person to exit from the sheath of the body that like locks him up, ולבושי נפש הבהמיס, and the imprisonment of the garments of the animalistic soul, of the ego, and so on. ואחר כך, that's the avodah of Rina, ורננה. That's the beginning of davening. פסוקי דזמרה, and ברכות קריאת שמע. ואחר כך היא avodah השמחה, Then follows that comes the avodah of simcha. That's Kriyat Shema. Begilui Or Ein Sof Baruch Hu. When there is a gilui of Or Ein Sof Baruch Hu mamash al nafsho, upon the nefesh, b'Kriyat Shema, when we say Shema. So this is the seder of tefillah, that before saying Shema, which the goal of Shema is to reach Avas Hashem, v'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, so that Havai Or Ein Sof mamash will become Elokecha, as Avigai is emphasizing, your koyach, your chayus. They were masaken to say Psukei de Zimra, and we have to do them with his boinanus. And then the brachos of Kriyat Shema. We need to daven, chavos. We need to daven seriously. Because the teichen of Psukei de Zimra and the brachos of Kriyat Shema is the praise of Hashem and the greatness of the kedusha of the malachim and their service, and the reflection, these boinanus on this, bring the person for awakening to want to come closer and closer to Hashem, mimata lamala, in a way of rina, until he exits his gashmius state of mind, and he comes to ivdu et Hashem besimcha in Kriyat Shema, that he's happy with the gilui of Or Ein Sof, mamash upon his nefesh in Kriyat Shema. Ma she'en ken, which is not the case, when we say Shema, but we didn't really prepare ourselves. כשלא תוקדם בחינת הרינה. When we don't begin with רינה and do רינה properly. אזי לא תשכון גילוי השמחה. Then there will not be a revelation of שמחה. רק היא בחינס נקבה. It's only a female condition that receives or מקבל מאיסרוסא דלעילא. So without prefacing the איסרוסא דלתתא, Hashem doesn't reveal in the nefesh. And the person is not having this gilui of simcha. But now we still have to, the Alter Rebbe has to ask a question that you all, I'm sure, having right now. And that is that if we say that if a person is in a bastion, that means that he is only a makabel, he's not giving anything, he's not initiating anything, then how the Alter Rebbe said that he is like a nekeva, he's only like a receiver, or makabel misarusa de le'ela. How is just a nekeva and makabel from initiation from above, which is not a deep, it's not a deep arousal, it's not a deep inspiration. But how is he makabel from above anyhow? If he's a bastion, if he's not serving Hashem properly, how is he mikabel from Or Ein Sof anyhow, altogether? So says the Alter Rebbe, שהרי מכל מקום, מיסרוסא דלעילא יורד ונמשך אור אין סוף ברוך הוא, בכל מצווה שעשה, וכדכתיב למעני אעשה. The perush, the meaning of the term bastion, doesn't mean that there is no avodah at all. There is avodah. A person is doing mitzvahs. A person is learning Torah. But he's not doing it with inspiration. And therefore, we're talking about a yid. You're talking about an observant yid. But he's in a condition of galus, in a condition of bastion. That doesn't mean that there's no avodah at all of Torah and mitzvahs. Rather, there is no avodah of bo lefanav birnana. There's no avodah of the desire and the yearning to exit and to liberate oneself from the limitations and from the imprisonment of the body and the levushim of nefesh ba'amis. We do Torah mitzvahs, but it's not done with this yearning of avodah of rina. And it's not done with awakening in our heart the feeling of desiring and yearning to cleave to Hashem. And therefore, the or of the ruchnius, of the Torah and mitzvahs, cannot be revealed in his nefesh. Does it come down from Or Ein Sof? Yes, because he did do a mitzvah, and he did learn Torah. But he didn't do it with this passion, this longing to connect with Hashem. And therefore, the or that does come down will not be revealed to him. אלא שאינו כי אם בבחינס חיצוניוס. למעני אעשה. This is the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem said, I'll do it for myself. Anyhow, any Torah and mitzvahs, my light will come down for my own sake. אלא שאינו כי אם בבחינס חיצוניוס. However, when a person is in a manner of bas Tzion, and he's not inspired, and he's not doing his avodas Hashem, Torah and mitzvahs, with a passion to ascend and to uplift himself and to merge and to cleave to Hashem, to merge with the Elokus, then what he reaches is also not the essence of Elokus. He reaches more chitzonius. אלא שאינו כי אם בבחינס חיצוניוס. When a person brings down Elokus, when he does Torah and mitzvot without inspiration, he does bring down Elokus, because he did do Torah and mitzvot. But, bivchinas chitzonius, only external aspect of Elokus, ma she'en ken bo lefanav. So that's also your question, Abigail. There are different levels of oneself too. Ma she'en ken bo lefanav. When we come before Hashem, bo lefanav berina, with avoida of rina, and the word here is the emphasis on lefanav, which means we wish the pnimius of Elokus, lios nichlas bivchinas pnimius, to be included in pnimius of Or Ein Sof, in the inner aspect of Or Ein Sof, eino ela bernana. That comes only when we have the avoida of renana. You should know, by the way, that he is a very happy end to this mimer, so nobody should get discouraged, even when we are not in a great state. So, the end of this parak is that besides the fact that without first doing isarusa deletata, the light does not permeate the person because he is not a keli for this light. Also, so not only that the light or Eloki that brought down is not permeating the person, also the level of the Or Eloki that goes down, that comes down as a result of serving Hashem more superficially, is also superficial. It's only chitzonius Or, which is not the essence of the light of the Shechina, only the external aspect, which is not so when we have the avoida of rina, bo lefanav, berina, mileshon pnimius lefanav, then a person is nichlal and included and merges with pnimius and atzmus Or Ein Sof. To conclude and summarize this parak, the 6th chapter of this Maimar, when Bnei Yisrael serve Hashem kedebai, as it's called properly, with isarusa deletata, with initiation from below, until they feel that the spiritual hamshacha of the mitzvahs, then they are called Tzion. They are inspired, they are lit up, they are feeling the presence of Hashem, they are in a good condition. They are called Tzion. Why? Because then they are a mark, a sign, a channel for the spiritual light that is flowing through them and by them. However, at time of Galus, spiritual Galus, Knesset Yisrael is called Bas Tzion, which is only a makabel from Tzion. As the Zohar says about Chazal, Ish mazriat chila yoledes nekeva, if the initiation and if the inspiration is only from above, without work from below, it gives birth to a not lasting and not deep and strong reaction. The kasher reis oirus, when a person comes only from milamaila, mi'akadosh baruch hu, which is called Ish, he is the male, we are the female, then the ava that is born out of that is called Isha, which means it's not strong enough. It's Bas Tzion. But when there is an avoida of Rina and Simcha, and we are at Tzion, Tzion Yamar Ish Beish Yulad Ba. Then not Yoredes Bas, rather an Ish. She will give birth to a love that is called Zachar Chazdo, a love which is lasting and deep and strong. Which means when a person proceeds first with avoida bo lefanav bernana, which means uplifting himself from below up, not just waiting to be inspired from above, and he's working to exit the coarse jail, the coarse limitations of his body and his nefesh habahamis. Then we come to Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Gilui Ohr and Sof in our nefesh. This is not the case when we don't do the avodah of Rina first, even though we do Torah and mitzvahs, but without inspiration, then the Or Eloki comes down. But it is not dwelling begilui to create simcha. And also it comes from chitzonius, Or and Sof, and in order to come to pnimius, we have to do the avodah of Renana. This is the 6th chapter. Let's go a little bit further and start the 7th one. So now, the Navi consoles us, because we are basically, Avigail, don't get depressed, but most of us are in a condition of Tzion these days. We don't know what his bonenus is, we don't know what the meditation is, we don't know what avoida of his of milamata lamaila, how much, we grab and eat, we grab and drink, we do what we can, but it's not really a proper avoida of like Zman Abayis, of a conscious avoida. We have a lot of Mesiras Nefesh, but we are kind of working in the dark. But now the Navi Yeshayahu is consoling us and says that even Tzion, that's the happy end of the Maimar, that even Tzion can come to true Simcha B'Havai. וזהו שבא הנביא לנחם את בני ישראל. This is when the Navi comes to console Bnei Israel, אפילו בזמן הגלוס, when we are such low souls and our avodah is so low. What kind of a keli can we make for Or and Sof? So we are lost in darkness. No, says the Navi. Even when we call shenikra Bas Tzion velo Tzion, even when we are called Bas Tzion and not Tzion, we are in a condition of galus and disconnect. שאף על פי כן רוני ושמחי. Nevertheless, rejoice and be happy. Why? והיינו, מפני, כי הנני בא, says Hashem, says the Navi. Hashem says, I'm coming. Nevertheless, I'm coming. I know you are Bas Tzion, you are in condition of galus, and you are not inspired, and you don't have revelations, and you are in the dark, and you're yearning, or sometimes not even then, that you're just, barely doing Torah and mitzvahs, whatever is left from surviving this world. Don't worry, says Hashem, and this is the chidush of the words of the Navi here. Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. He comes to console us that even though we are in Bas Tzion, nevertheless, without Isarusa deletata, הנני בא, ושכנתי בשוחך נאום Hashem. I'm coming, says Hashem, and I will dwell in you. כי הנה, now to explain it. What does it mean? You just said that if there's no work milamata, there is no gilui milamala. So what are you saying? That I can still be in a condition of no work milamata and have simcha and gilui milamala? How can it be? Because we will begin now and we'll complete next time in Mirtzah Hashem. We'll complete the Maimar next time. כי הנה יש איסרוסה דלעילה שהיא לעילה מקום שאין איסרוסה דלתתא מגעת שם כלל. We will learn that there are two types of איסרוסה דלעילה. There are two types of initiation from above. One type of initiation of above that comes as a result of initiation from below. Then there is a way higher and deeper initiation from above that comes from such high level of Or HaSoivev, of the infinite light, that there, isarusa deletata, any initiation from below cannot reach and cannot make a difference at all regarding this light of leila, leila, leila. So, there are two kinds of isarus milamaila, of isarusa de leila. Again, there is isarusa de leila that comes as a result of initiation de letata from below, and that's or hakdusha, the light of godliness that shines in the nefesh of a person, like a reward, so to speak, like a sachar for his work, for his avodah. And there is isarusa de leila that comes down upon a person without first the person doing any initiation from below. And that is called leila or leila, which means the first one, isarusa de leila, one leila, is that chesed that Hashem bestows upon a person when he does something from his end. And Hashem, of course, gives much more. He gives milamaila, but it is a response for the person's labor, for the person's effort. Then there is an initiation, a revelation, what the Rebbe calls le'ela u'le'ela. It is sarusa le'ela u'le'ela. It is higher than high. In this madrega, the avodah of man does not take any place, does not place any role. Does not play any role, doesn't make any impact, doesn't have any impact, doesn't reach there.
Where would the baskol that comes out every day, what would that be called?
Excuse me?
The baskol that comes out every day, would it be le'ela le'ela or le'ela?
That's le'ela.
The baskol?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the super consciousness. It's karov. It's a makiv, but a makiv that karov is close to pnimi. It's close to pnimi. It's a makiv that hovers over the consciousness of the person. It's super conscious, but it hovers over the consciousness of the persons. We are talking about deeper level of soiviv kol almin. I think we will stop here because it requires a little bit more explanation. But bottom line, the Rebbe will say now that there is, in a condition of the depth of Galus and the end of Galus, when eventually the Navi proclaims that don't worry, even in a condition of Bas Tzion, when we barely survive the Galus, and we're now performing Torah and mitzvahs of the level of neshamos, which are in the level of akevaim, of hills. You know, how much revelation we have, how much inspiration we have, how much wisdom, how much light shines in our consciousness. What level of consciousness do we carry in comparison to the Tanaim or the Amoraim or the Gaonim and so on? We lost all that sensitivity. Nevertheless, there is a Gilui from Le'ela or Le'ela that is not conditioned at all by our condition, and that will be revealed to Bas Tzion. And this, the Maimar will conclude, is also what we are doing when we are lighting the Hanukkah candles and the Hanukkah menorah. And that's why Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion is connected to the Haftarah of Hanukkah. That will be the conclusion. Next time, in Hashem, we conclude the Maimar. It will all put together, clearly everything together, Be'ezras Hashem, and we gave a summary of the whole Maimar, and in Hashem, the week after, we will start a new Maimar. Any questions or comments?
Hannah, what about the thing about the midget on the shoulders of a giant? I thought that's what's going to accumulate the possibility for having a keli for the R.
It's not a contradiction. There is a two processes happen at the same time. You know, you can say that. You know, there is during the accumulation of the avodah that was done during the generations regarding the refinement of the oneself and the world, and bringing oneself into the world through years and generations of Torah and mitzvahs. That has an accumulative effect. But regarding this last generation of Bas Tzion, we need big Yeshua, and that will come as the light of the Geula shines from Le'ela and Le'ela, and will disregard whatever matzav we are in. And if you're looking now at the matzav of the Jewish people, it's not great. Most of us are not doing well in terms of our relationship with Hashem and so on, also the Jewish people. So the Navi is consoling us that even though we are Bas Tzion, you're right, the accumulation of all these years made the world ready for this Gilui. But still there will be the Gilui from Le'ela, the Le'ela, Hineni ba v'shachrin b'tochech, I will dwell with you. I will come from a place that is way above any labor and effort that you are doing, and it comes following all the efforts that you did all these years, but it's not in comparison at all.
Right, okay.
It's interesting, B'Hashgacha Pratis in Samach Vav, that's what we're learning about now also, from another angle. It's very, helps to understand this topic. It has a lot of angles to it.
But it's saying that we need, in order to get Simcha, in order to get Pneumius, we need to do the Avodah. Then it's saying we're not going to end up doing it anyway, we're just going to get it from Le'ela, Le'ela.
No. It didn't say that we're not going to do it anyway. It didn't say we're not going to do it. We should try to do it as much as we can, and we do. We try, and that's why we're learning to be inspired and to do the Avodah. Yet, even if we are in a manner of, what percentage of the Jewish people are doing Avodah these days? Like in terms of Avodah, Torah and mitzvahs. Not a big percentage. I mean, there are other things that are going on, Achdus, things that make up for it, which, in Mesiras Nefesh for protecting the Holy Land and each other and so on. But in terms of the condition of the Jewish people, it's not great these days. The consciousness of the Jewish people in Israel is, I'm not judging, but it's not. It's not a great condition. So we need help from the Maila, but nevertheless, the work of all generations makes the world ready. If not, nothing would help.